Des Holloway, Part 3, The Rage of the Weak. His home was gone, and the men who did it? They were still there, laughing, drinking, feasting on whatever scraps they could find, warming themselves by fires built from the bones of his home. The same men who had taken everything were now filling their bellies where his people had starved. Des didn't think. Thinking meant feeling. Feeling meant breaking. And breaking meant dying. So he did what he had always done. He disappeared. He waited. And when the soldiers got too drunk to stand, when their laughter turned to slurred muttering, then to slow, heavy breathing, he set the first fire, just a small one at first, a careless mistake waiting to happen, a torch left too close to the supply wagon, a stray ember landing on dried-out thatch, then another, a flask of oil spilled where it shouldn't be, a knife taken from an open pack and placed in the wrong hands, beside a soldier's throat while he slept, so when the next man stumbled awake and saw it, panic spread faster than the flames, shouts, accusations, a blade drawn in drunken confusion, a man killed before he could explain himself. By the time they realized what was happening, it was already too late. Some stumbled into the fire, their screams drowned by the howling wind. Some turned on each other, blades flashing, convinced the enemy had already infiltrated their camp. Some tried to run. Des let them. The cold would finish what he started. By dawn, only embers remained. Only corpses, half buried in snow, their blood turned black in the frost. Des stepped into the wreckage, silent. He picked through what was left, taking whatever he could carry, boots from the dead, a cloak stiff with dried blood, a sack of rations that would keep him alive for another week. Maybe two. And when he finally turned away from what had once been his home, from the bodies still glowing with dying embers, he didn't look back. Because there was nothing left to see, only ash, only bones, only Des Holloway, the last one left. The starving place. The tundra stretched endlessly, an unbroken expanse of white and ice, where even the sky seemed to bleed into the earth, making it impossible to tell where one ended and the other began. The wind carried no warmth, no sound beyond its own howling rage, and no mercy. It swept across the frozen wasteland in relentless cutting waves, scouring the land, stripping it bare, leaving nothing behind but silence. Des walked because there was nothing else left to do. He had been walking for days, maybe weeks. He had stopped counting, stopped caring. His body moved forward out of habit because stopping wasn't an option, because stopping meant dying. His steps were slow, each one heavier than the last. His boots, cracked and worn through from too many miles, sank into the snow with every movement. They had once belonged to someone else, someone who no longer needed them. The soles were thin, letting the cold seep in with every step, biting into the flesh beneath. His toes had gone numb long ago, and he wondered distantly if they were still there. He tried to wiggle them but felt nothing, just dead weight. His legs were stiff, half frozen, moving more out of muscle memory than any real strength. His fingers curled weakly inside his gloves, frozen into claws, stiff and useless. He didn't bother trying to flex them anymore. What would be the point? His breath came in short, shallow gasps, curling in the air like smoke before vanishing into nothing. His ribs ached with every inhale, his chest hollow and tight. There wasn't enough air. The cold was too thick, pressing in on him from all sides, stealing his breath before it could fill his lungs. If you enjoyed this tale from the eternal expanse, don't let the story end here. Like the video to show your support, subscribe to the channel for more narrated legends and homebrew creations, and ring the bell so you never miss the next chapter. And if you have thoughts, theories, or ideas, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear what you think. Until next time, may your adventures be bold, your dice roll true, and your stories live on.